So I hand over to Frank Keil, and thank you very much, and enjoy the car later on. Thank you.
Thank you. So at Bugatti, we are very proud about our philosophy, form follows performance. And that means we designers work very closely hand in hand with the engineers. So I'm speaking here today on behalf of the development team. And picking up on the briefing from Mr. Winkelmann, we really did a lot of changes to the Pure Sport versus the Chiron that make this car corner and handle like no other road legal Bugatti. Starting with the gearbox, it's a much shorter gear ratio, and that fits together very well with an engine that revs 200 revolutions higher. It also matches the chassis and suspension setup. It's got a lot of stiffer springs, different sway bars, and mostly much more negative camber angle, and a new set of wheels that are very light, and a set of tires that match this whole package. That goes together with the aerodynamic package on the car, and obviously the design to suit the much more aggressive and sinister look on the face and the much more extreme character of the whole car. Also, we have reduced the weight, so it's 50 kilograms lighter, and that you really feel also in the way that it turns in and the handling. And what that means in details is, here we have the engine, so the engine now has 200 revolutions taller rev range, so we increased it from 6,700 to 6,900, so you can actually hold the revs longer, and that matches perfectly with the gearbox. It's not only the final drive that we changed, it's every single gear, so that's 80% of the gearbox is new, and it matches the character of the car, that you just have the right revs for the right curve situation at any time. Also, the accessible power, because of this, it's 1,500 horsepower. Because of the rev range in the lower speeds, the cornering relevant speeds, you have much more power accessible because of the shorter gearbox, and that matches together with a higher revving engine. The weight saving is substantial here. We have mostly done it on the magnesium wheels, so the unsprung mass is where it matters. Also, the carbon fiber sway bars are much lighter, and we have, for this model, eradicated the wing hydraulics, so to replace it with this wing that is just suspended on a really lightweight carbon fiber support. On the chassis setup, as I've mentioned before, we have much stiffer springs, so this is 65% in the front, 33% in the rear, stiffer springs, and you will really feel that in combination with the increased negative camber angle, so minus 2.5 degrees is a lot for a road car, and that really works very well together with the tire. We have a Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2R, so it's a much softer compound now, and that works really well in correlation with the added camber angle and the different spring setup, and that also goes together with the reduced unsprung mass from these magnesium wheels. So as you may know, every bump that you go through and the wheel is heavy will make the wheel travel higher. So if the wheel is light, it will stay on the ground much longer and sooner, and so you can increase mechanical grip like that. Also, we have a new driving mode, which is called ESC Sport Plus. That will allow you to place the car on the throttle much nicer, and it will actually allow a bit of a drift angle over all four wheels, if you know what you're doing. These numbers, I think, speak for themselves. 0 to 300 under 12 seconds is really an astonishing and breathtaking figure if you experience this. And this is mainly due to the shorter gearbox. And it fits perfectly together also with the elasticity values. So the values that make you go from let's say 80 to 120, this is almost a 40% increase here. So this car will really have a breathtaking performance. I can't wait for you to drive the car and experience that. Talking about the design, this is a bit more my part. I'm going to give you a little walk around now. Maybe we follow on the cameras. So in design, it's all about proportion. So we've re-proportioned the front by dividing it horizontally. You see the lower part is all an exposed carbon fiber. That way we split up the volumes to make the car seem lower, because the lower part connects to the shadow and the tarmac on the road, and the upper painted part is what you mainly read as the volume of the car. So it looks lower and wider. Also, it's got a much more sinister look on its face. It's got the Chiron identity with the 4 daytime lights, but the eyebrows stand at a much more aggressive angle to give it the presence, the stance that we wanted to have on the road. The air intakes we have increased. in all directions. As I've said, the engine mapping, the higher revs, the character that you will drive the car at slower speeds and you still need to cool the engines at these higher RPMs means we need to force more air through the radiators. That's why we've opened up the air intakes. We have also increased the size of the front splitter to create more downforce. And more downforce is also being created by these louvers that we have on the front wings here. If we force more air through the radiators, more air will also get evacuated into the wheel wells, and that air needs to go somewhere, otherwise it will push the car up in the front. So we relieve that extra pressure through these air outlets. Also, it's a very nice design feature as the line from the door runs through this feature like a tendon through a muscle. It's a very nice feature. Coming around to the wheels here, we have the 10-spoke magnesium wheels that are available in two configurations. The lightest configuration is like this. If you're willing to add another 250 grams per wheel, we can add carbon fiber discs that have a special aerodynamic profile and will actually extract hot air from the inside of the wheel to the outside. So they help cool the brakes and actually create a bit of downforce while doing that. On the side as well, we have introduced a new horizontal split that also here it's about proportion. It divides the volume of the car up in two levels. So you see the lower part, exposed carbon fiber, upper part is body color, and it's a very nice finish as well. So this is the Bugatti quality that you know, exposed carbon fiber, but we've added a new ply box so that we can actually paint onto the exposed carbon fiber without any texture in the paint. So it's a really nice high quality finish. And you won't notice it because it's completely hidden under the clear coat. All the downforce that we've created on the front needs to be counterbalanced on the rear, hence the big wing. And this wing also has a very special design feature that here for the first time we have introduced, which is this X theme. So the wing support, the trapezoid shape of the wing support and the trapezoid shape of the bumper and the diffuser together form this kind of X theme. X for extreme experimental. This is a new topic for Bugatti design form language that you're going to see in the future on a lot more cars. This is the first one to introduce this form language. And we have actually fine-tuned the position of the wing and the size of the wing, the profile of the wing, to the size of the new diffuser. The diffuser, as you see, is pulled out. The car is a little bit longer, and it's higher. So these two in combination create the downforce. And last but not least, one of my personal highlights is the titanium exhaust tip. So this tip looks that way because it could not have been made another way. This is printed, so it's an additive manufacturing. And that concludes my little presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. I would now like to invite you onto stage. Please respect our social distancing rules, but have a closer look at the car. I hope you enjoy it. Myself and Andy Wallace are still around. If you have any more questions, I'll be happy to answer your questions. Thank you very much.